Welcome to ANN In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to reach people at home. If you are a Christian, a Seventh-day Adventist, then that is your mission, to reach 7.8 billion people in every language that they speak and you speak, but you're at home and they're at home. How do you do it? What if you work in a community project and you're constantly used to helping people physically? Now that you're at home, you can't get close to them. How do you help them? This is what we will be discussing today in ANN In Depth. We have a few guests, and I want to introduce you first to Hearly. Hearly works at ADRA, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency. Hearly, in a moment, you're going to tell us all about what you do and how you do it and about your organization. I'm going to call the other two guests. We have Scotty Mayer, who will be here with us. He will also tell us what he does. And from Loma Linda, stuck in Loma Linda, is Jasper. Jasper, welcome to this broadcast. So, Hearly, let me go to you. Tell me about ADRA and tell me about what you do.
Well, thank you, Sam, for inviting me today. And, these are really unprecedented times. My organization, ADRA, we've been really busy over the last, 2 months and beyond, really, just trying to understand how to best respond to people around the world, really, even here in the United States. The needs have been changing, of course, over the last several weeks, and we've been trying to address those in different ways. And so if you know anything about ADRA, ADRA is the humanitarian arm of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. ADRA is working in different ways around the world, providing water, providing food, providing assistance to people, even during disasters that are really struggling to make ends meet. And over the last several weeks, we've seen how, COVID has really impacted people's lives. They've not been able to go to work. They've not have an opportunity to go shopping for food. Also, you see a lot of health workers, facilities not having the right medical equipment. And so our response has focused on a lot of different things, such as the ones that I just mentioned. And we've been ramping up in about 70 countries around the world, including the US, to help about 2.7 million people. So it's been really hectic, a lot of work happening with different teams globally. But God is blessed. We're really starting to see how people are coming together to help, to provide assistance. People even from their homes are saying, "Hey, how can I help?" They're calling us, they're tweeting us, they're sending us messages, and so just getting the support has been really, really heartwarming to see, and of course the response as well. So we're really, really excited about what's happening right now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hearly. And now let's go to Scotty Mayer. Let's get something straight here. We've got Hearly Myer and we've got Scotty Mayer. Is this a spelling mistake somewhere, or are you related, or it's just a different family strand?
That's right. Brothers from a different mother. I don't know. Different spelling says the same, though.
I see. So, Scotty, what do you do, and why is this subject of reaching people at home so dear to you?
Sure. So I work with a ministry called Little Light Studios. We are a video ministry, for lack of a better term. We kind of started out making documentaries, and then a few years ago, we really turned our efforts to really reaching the audience that we have through YouTube. And most of the content that we make, we kind of saw a gap or a void in a lot of evangelism. We're really great as a church. We reach the elderly generation. We do a really great job reaching even little kids. We've got a lot of programming for them. But it gets to be that like teenage, college age range, we kind of drop off, and we have not as many ministries that really are reaching out to them. So we kind of just said, okay, Lord, send us. We'll tackle that group, and we try to make content that is specifically centering around issues that demographic deals with. One way that we all kind of sat around and said, how are we going to reach these people? They don't have a TV. They don't own a VCR. They don't buy stuff. They all have phones and they all use YouTube. And so we said, that's it. Let's just hit YouTube. It's a free resource. I think it's an underutilized resource. And so once this whole kind of coronavirus thing hit, we kind of put a lot of energy into our content online like that already. that actually we started seeing a massive increase in not only people watching our content, sharing our content, getting involved in social media. And so this has been an absolute wonderful thing for our ministry. We have a lot of people that are stuck at home, a lot of people that have a lot of time on their hands. And so one way to fulfill that time is really through the online resources. So I love it. I mean, I've done so many of these like virtual conferences, virtual talking out. I've seen a lot of ministries just quickly adapt and all of a sudden become like online. And it's great. I mean, why we're here in the first place is really to share information, share inspiration, and try to really point people to a relationship with Christ. And this is an excellent way to do that. We have the technology. It can go around the world, and we're trying to utilize it to our best of ability right now.
Absolutely. We've all been thrown in the deep end on when it comes to digital, and everybody's is called to be a digital evangelist now, especially because other options are gone. So the people that are excited about the leafleting, the pamphleting, the physical contact, having to find alternative ways. And those that have never done that, they are now finding that there are other ways to be involved as well. Jasper, let me come to you. Tell us about yourself, what you do, and why the subject matters to you.
So my name is Jasper Ivan Iturriaga. That's how you pronounce my last name. I was born in the Philippines. I used to be a pastor in Indonesia. I was an evangelist for Amazing Facts out there, but decided to leave pastoral ministry to do more media work. So I'm what they call a digital nomad. That's just a fancy way to say I'm homeless. I don't really have a place to stay. I've been traveling around for about 4 years now, around 50 countries traveling. I do a lot of itinerant speaking, but most of the time I do a lot of photography, landscape photography. I do a lot of filmmaking. I work as a creative director for Lineage Journey, if you've seen those episodes, and
with
in YouTube,
Clive
of course, and Hope Channel.
the guys, right?
Yeah, and Clive and the guys. Yeah, so do a lot. Anything that moves in that film, I do a lot, most of those. And I have a ministry called Tell Them Creatives. Tell Them Creatives is a YouTube channel. We create a lot of mission videos. And by the way, ADRA, I wanted to collaborate with you guys if you like. But anyways, so Tell Them Creatives is we travel to most places and create videos for mission projects that don't really have that much exposure. We have a lot of missions that has a lot of exposures, but there's a lot of people who run ministries don't have much exposure in order for us to help them. And so that's one of the main purpose of Tell Them. But anyways, right now in COVID, we're trying to do, of course, a lot of Zoom calls, but we try to create relevant content for young people. It may be vlogging, it may be photography, but currently beside that, we are running a home, I'm helping run or serve most of our homeless friends in San Bernardino. There's a lot of shelters right now that are closed. And so many people don't really have places to eat. And so every day we go out for about 9 weeks now with a team. Every single day we serve around 100 to 120 people, serving them mostly burritos and food. And that's where I come in during this time.
Fantastic. So both the digital and the physical presence there doing this work. Good. How do you see, for any of you, how do you see the church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we're all Adventists here, responding to this after the lockdown has passed? So 2 years from now, let's say, how will the church be different when it comes especially to digital mission? At that time, will this fundamentally change, or are we just going to go back to whatever normal it was? And what are your thoughts on this? Maybe Scotty, you could start us off.
I think we have a wonderful message, and sometimes for whatever reason, the public that has either been misinformed about what Adventism is all about, what we believe, they're not going to walk into an Adventist church for whatever reason. And so I guarantee you a lot of searching happens online. They're looking into, it's kind of a non-threatening way to sit in your home and to listen to a message, to understand and digest what's being said. And so I feel like this is a great opportunity for the Adventist Church, that we can really start to educate and put things out there. Everybody's now putting things online. And if we really intellectually attack it with, like, let's topically deal with this, put things out there. I mean, I love, like, you know, Amazing Facts for many years, they've had all of these variety of websites that deal with certain topics, but you really don't know it's tied back to Amazing Facts. The topic of hell, they'll have a website that pops up that really has just a lot of information about that. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to just constantly keep putting information out there. Online is a non-threatening format for people to watch your content. And I think we should really put some energy and investment into it. Jasper, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff that this guy makes. His stuff just looks great right off the bat. It's fantastic looking. And if we kind of start to work together with people with messages, with people with the technical skills like that, I think we could really do a lot of great work just online with the Adventist Church. So I hope that this inspired our Adventist Church to say, not only is it not very difficult, everybody's jumped online and now everyone's an online guru, but it's like, you know, we can really actually have some real waves happen for this. So I hope that this just helps our church see that this is an area we really need to put some energy into.
Hearly.
Yeah, from a person to person point of view, because this is over the last several weeks, that has been probably the biggest challenge. We've been forced to really be intentional about doing good, about connecting with people, and I hope for us as Christians, even as Adventists, that in 2 years' time, even in 3 months' time, if we're back to whatever normal that looks like, that we're going to be really more human, more kind, or kinder, just better persons to one another. And we've realized that being apart is very difficult, and it goes against our nature. We want to do good. We want to connect with people. We want to go and see, is somebody struggling in my community, in my church, and the people that I know, maybe my neighbors that I don't know. And so I hope that is one thing that we're going to learn, that look, if we intend to make a difference in our communities, we have to be really intentional. We have to go out, not wait for things come to us, but we have to do this on our own. And there's a verse in Galatians 6:9. It roughly says, do not get tired of doing good. I love that verse, because look, this is what Jesus would have wanted us to do, is to go out, to be better persons, to be better humans and better Christians, to those around us.
Mm.
Yeah, Jasper.
There's two dreams in my side. I hope this opens our leadership's eyes and how important the internet and social media is. Someone I was reading one time, and it says attention is the new currency. And if we're not taking advantage of this, man, we're losing. And we're way behind. You look at how the Mormons would do it. Look at other religion with it. We're way behind as a church. And there's still hope. We need to take advantage of every opportunity. Yeah, we need to take advantage of every opportunity. And my dream is that this will open doors for our church to become a creative hub for young people. That young people be trained, and young people could use the talent to advance the cause, or through the talents in social media. And of course, my dream is during this time, I pray that our church becomes a place of refuge for people. When something like this strikes, the number one thing that people would think is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, because they see it as a place of refuge. When we go out on the streets of San Bernardino, people, one time we were talking to one of this homeless guy, and he said to one of our volunteers, "Hey man, we're so sad that church is closed, but thank you for bringing the church to us." And that is such a powerful statement, that I hope the church really recognize us, not just a building, but actually a place for them to go as a place of refuge. And I know that ADRA is doing our best, but of course I hope as personally, we as a people, that people would see us as a place of refuge during crisis.
Absolutely. So let me share with you for a few moments some exciting news that we are we are experiencing. So many years ago, the administration of the General Conference especially decided to take digital evangelism very seriously. And, you know, the thing about the General Conference is that it takes forever to move it in any direction. And if you're watching this and you're not familiar with the General Conference, it's the global headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So this is where ANN is run from, and where we think of ways in which we can involve the world in different aspects of all of this mission. So we've been especially focusing on search engine optimization and to create a plan that is scalable throughout the world. And there's a campaign that starts this Sunday. It has the potential to be the largest digital evangelism event in the history of the church, because it's for YouTube first. So it's a YouTube first campaign for the first time. And let me show you here the landing page. It will be, here's the landing page for it. It's a partnership with AWR. So AWR is the one that is organizing this. Unlocking Bible Prophecies with Cami on May 31 to June 13. So it's 14 nights straight at 7 p.m. in each time zone. This is Cami. She's a vice president of AWR, has an amazing story where she was an entrepreneur, left that and started preaching 350 series, 350 sermons on prophecy, which is probably more than many pastors have ever preached. And she is now a vice president of AWR. You may have seen her on some videos. And this is the campaign. So here is so far, you know, it's pretty common. Now it gets exciting when we see what the possibilities are. There are 125 people working on this campaign at this moment. So there are 49 people divided into 7 teams of 7, most of them in the Philippines. And they are following up with people. Everyone who comments gets they personally go and write a message to them on any of our posts. But it gets really interesting afterwards, because you've got this follow-up, which we've never really had in any of our evangelism campaigns. And we kind of hope the best that somebody will follow up with names somewhere. But digital, here's what we learned. Digital is not the same as virtual, and I'm going to create a difference here. Virtual is when you're either talking or interacting with a machine or others, but digital is one person to another person. And it's not mass communication either. You're communicating with one person at a time. And that's a really important point. If you want to reach people at home, you're not reaching 10 million of them, you know, a mass of people. No, you're reaching each one of them. So that individuality is really, really important. The cool thing is we've got 20, 22, 30, 35 writers that are right now writing copy, SEO specialized copy for each of these episodes. They're also going on Quora. How cool this is. So you're familiar with Quora. Let me open it up here. For those that are not familiar with Quora, Quora.com. So Quora is the website that you can basically get answers to your questions. Okay, so here we are in Quora. And people ask all sorts of questions. So, for example, signs of the second coming, right? Is anybody interested in the signs of the second coming? All these religious questions. And it turns out they are interested. There are many questions about the signs of the second coming. Look at this one, for example. 28 answers about the signs of the second coming. It's followed by 17 people, and this one only has 4 app votes. Now, as you look through here, as far as I could tell, there was no content that was biblical in a way that Seventh-day Adventists understand it. So let's understand this. There are people, thousands of people, who are asking religious questions in this public forum, and none of us are there to answer those questions. And we think that's a tragedy. So we've got like 15 writers that are spending all their time for the next few weeks writing answers, Seventh-day Adventist answers, using their own profiles to post these answers. And then we will visit those. And if we like it, we will upvote those questions and therefore bring it more and more to the top. But that's not just Quora. What about Wikipedia? Because if you type anything, let's say you type Bible prophecy, somebody's interested in Bible prophecy, and Seventh-day Adventists have a thing or two to say about that. So here it is. Wikipedia is always the first result. So let's have a look at that. So here you have a description of prophecy everywhere. And this is the first resource that people go to understand a subject. And when it comes to the book of Daniel, there is one sentence that points to a couple of other prophecies here, but there isn't really much on the book of Daniel. Do you think that's acceptable? Do you see the point? We have such good content to share with the world that we've been fine-tuning and refining and testing and debating for 150 years, and we could add it here. And as you go down, there's a lot of stuff about messianic prophecies in Judaism, prophecies from Jesus, Rashi, lots of stuff on Rashi, Muhammad, other, Book of Mormon and other faiths. Did you see anything about what Seventh-day Adventists have to say about this? None. So we have writers that are researching and doing this because, and leading to places where they can connect with the church and where they can find out more information. And one of those places will be Adventist.org. Now, let's talk about Adventist.org for a moment. We talked about Bible prophecy. Now, if we go back here to Adventist.org, you will find something that we discovered that was very interesting. So, and what we discovered a few weeks ago is Adventist.org. We've been creating content for Adventist.org for a while, and suddenly it started ranking on page 1 of Google. And that was a fascinating result because when people are searching for that, well, that's where you want to find it. And we discovered that all of our English speaking pages found, you see it right there, how to understand Bible prophecy. Brent, if you could click on that. So if we have a thing or two to say about Bible prophecy, and guys, I'm choosing one theme here, one topic only. So if you want to reach people at home, you need to present great content that will be exciting to them, that will bless them, that they can learn from, and it will be on the devices they're already using. So we talked about YouTube. We'll come to that in a minute. But here is a description of how to engage with Bible prophecy. Thousands of words. I think this page has 2,500 words. Other pages have 6,000 words. There are books written on Adventist.org as we try to position the church as an authority in these subjects to be there on the first page of Google. We're working closely with the Center for Online Evangelism, who has great specialists who are helping us in doing this. Just the brief for each of these pages. The brief has 6 pages just to explain what the writer will do. And it's a grueling process. We had writers who quit. We had writers who cried halfway through. It's a grueling process to get to this, the first page of Google. And it's not easy, but it's very rewarding as you see more and more people who are interested in this coming through. Now, final thing I want to say before I get your thoughts and opinions, I want to share something that we launched about 7 hours ago. And it's a crazy idea and thought. Let me remove that. Add this. Become a digital missionary. Okay, a digital missionary. So let's take this out of here. And it's a very simple concept. I don't think the sound will work if I play it. But here is Cami. There's a nice video there. If you go to connect.adventist.org/digital, there it is, connect.adventist.org/digital. And here's the crazy idea. 5,000 digital missionaries in 5 days. That's the launch. We launched it 6 hours ago. We have, no, maybe it was a little bit longer, about 10 hours ago. And we already have about 700, 800 people. So we're on our way there, 5,000 in 5 days. And when people sign up, they get this really cool email. And I think you guys should sign up for it, and others too. So this is one way that you can use a global movement, a global structure that will, and if you sign up, you'll get missions every day. So the mission today is to post the graphics on your Instagram page pointing to the landing page. The mission the next day may be to edit a Wikipedia article. The mission the following day may be to contact 20 people on WhatsApp or whatever other platform you use. So multiple platforms, thousands of people, all taking part together to create some movement that will help people understand the Bible. Really, that's the goal here, and understand it for themselves. So let me get a response from you guys. You are the experts. I want to know, a free consultancy here. What can we do to improve this? What are different ways that you could imagine that this would really take off, and why do you think it matters? So any of you.
I think it's an awesome idea. I mean, I'm such a fan of the whole online process. I spend most of my energy with just YouTube and some forms of Facebook and other social media, but you get a chance to interact. You can kind of see, and I love the idea of you guys actually targeting people that are searching various different topics or whatever. I mean, this is I mean, the early reformers would have died to know what kind of an opportunity we have in front of our hands. I mean, you can literally like put them in a category and say, all these people want to know about the second coming. Bam, here, let's feed them some second coming information. That's awesome. I mean, we should totally learn how to use this. I mean, I there's a few like online evangelism types, digital media type prophecy schools. I don't know what for lack of a better term, but we need more of these things. We need more people that are specializing in coupling how do we use the tools in today's world and share the gospel with it, and bridge those two. I mean, here's maybe an idea of for ANN. I mean, do a little tiny week summer course for kids to come get involved and to learn all these tools and go back home and duplicate it and relearn it or something like that. That would be a way for young people to get involved. And trust me, I've hired a couple of millennial kids. Everybody kind of laughs at the millennials and thinks they're lazy, but dude, these guys can do work 10 times faster than me. And they turn around and they're just done. So let's utilize this new up and coming generation that is already masters of the technology, and all we got to do is guide them and tweak it a little bit, and they'll do wonderful work for the church.
Let me give you an example of 4 or 5 days ago, we thought, you know what we could do? We could get the largest Facebook video cross-posting that we've ever done. So we thought, let's get 10,000 Facebook pages to cross-post the video in different time zones, wherever they find themselves. Okay, great idea. Now let's look for those Facebook pages, right? So a guy, Emmanuel is his name, down under in Australia. He wrote a script that would use Google Maps data, and he scraped out of 74 English-speaking countries something like 17,000 17,000 Adventist church references in those 74 countries. And then he created another script that would go through all of those and find if there was a Facebook page associated with that website that was there. And that generated 6,900 and something Facebook pages. And then another script that went through each of those pages to find how many likes they had, to create an order of priority for our digital missionaries to get in touch with that page and say, hey, here's a form. You can cross-post with us. So this whole series will appear as if it's coming from your local church. And we want no credit for it. We just want you to get those contacts and follow up with people directly. And that's one approach. Then another, I think it was the same guy, created another script that went through and scraped the Adventist groups so they can create watch parties. We discovered one group that's 250,000 Adventists. And so we have a list of 1,500 groups ranked by, from many to few. So those are some of the missions that these digital missionaries will get. And that's exactly what you're saying, Scotty, is look, they can do it. Just give them the challenge, take them seriously, and they can do it. And not just the millennials, they're already in the workforce. You've got Generation Z coming up who are absolutely driven and ready. So, right. So it's exciting.
Sam, you mentioned. I was going to add. One of the things that is really interesting. I think this is impacting the church, but also organizations like ADRA, many ministries, where we're paying so much more attention to the journey. What happens when somebody gets in touch with you, whether they give you that email, when for whatever reason you get in contact with them. And, we're saying that even at ADRA, we're working to really customize that journey. And so if you're interested in your case in evangelism, in our case, somebody's interested in becoming an advocate, they're interested in water or food, or I can just volunteer. We want to provide information that's really relevant to them. The days of the shotgun approach are really over. And I know I'm talking to the choir here. You guys are very much aware of that. But it's becoming really critical for us to speak directly to that one individual in the Philippines, in Brazil, in France, but in a way that they will understand it will be relevant to them. And the more we can do that, not only will our ministries, our agencies, our church will grow, but they'll be more connected to what really they're trying to do, what really it's relevant to them. And so it's great to hear that the church as a whole is looking into this, and I think we can all really learn and grow from this experience. The more specific, the more custom our messages are, I think the more effective we're going to be in the long run.
One thing that I've learned about the whole YouTube culture, which is kind of counterintuitive when you first start out, is the more collaboration that you have, the better it is for both parties. And at first it was kind of like this, well, what if I'm doing the same thing that they're doing? Like, how is that even relevant? But the problem is there's lots of people who may know who ADRA is, or what the work they do, but they don't know anything else about XYZ over here. And so to really just jump on and cross-pollinate and promote and share and all that kind of stuff is actually beneficial for everyone as a whole. And so I've really learned to appreciate the uniqueness of different ministries, the unique sort of niche group that they're meeting. But then it's like, as this niche group learns more, they may be more interested in, like the person that's just coming into the Adventist faith maybe doesn't know how to get involved. But once you kind of lead them down the road, and then it's like they're starting to ask questions like, hey, how do I get involved? Oh, there's this group called ADRA, and they're really great. If you want to have boots on the ground, here's a great opportunity for you here. And through that connection, it's like you now take your audience and open them up and expose them to some greater opportunities that perhaps you don't give. And so I think this really helps us not only work together, which is, I think, where we need to go anyway. We need more working together, but it's just kind of an exciting thing. So sharing and cross-pollination is, I think, key to this really rolling out as well, just like what you've talked about, Sam.
Fantastic. Jasper, do you agree? What's your experience?
Yeah, I think it's all about collaboration. Only the reason why I get to able to travel and do all these things is because people were willing, they were like, hey, we want to collaborate with you. We're called to be the body of Christ, and no one is the head here, even though we have the general conference, they're not the head. Jesus is the head, and we collaborate with the GC, we collaborate with this guy, so it's as soon as if the church stops collaborating, this work will never be finished. This prayer prophecy says, unless church members will rally together with our church officers, this work will never be finished. And so
exactly,
it's prophetic
right.
and at the same time very practical. And the only way this work will finish is when we collaborate. And if we don't have that way, and I'm really happy that the church is really starting to do this, especially in the digital realm. If we are not doing this, then this is such a waste of time. Someone may have a good idea, someone may have good execution, but if you're not together in this is such a waste of time. So it's just a good way to collaborate. Yeah,
guys, let's talk about TikTok.
I've seen some posts of some girl having Bible studies with tens of thousands of people on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
TikTok has come to stay. It's the best, probably the worst way to spend 3 hours, because once you get to that feed, it's very difficult to get out. There's one more video and one more video, and it never ends. A constant stream of nonsense. But can we make sense of it for ministry? is, we have this Brazilian girl that managed to get it done there. But have you looked at this or not yet, or is it something you're just waiting to see what happens?
I personally have not gone to TikTok. I just had so
Don't
much
do
social
it.
media already.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. If you go, I
It's a
don't
black
recommend
hole.
it.
Yeah, I wanted to reach out with TikTok, but one person can only manage so much social media. We already have YouTube, we already have Instagram, Facebook, and it's so much work. But I have
Yeah.
I have many people who have friends who've utilized a lot of TikTok lately. I've even watched people these are not Seventh-day Adventists, but Christians who have millions of views, and all they do is wait, stop. Before you skip this video, let me pray for you. And he would just pray for people for 30 seconds or read them a verse, pray for them, and they get 5 million, 20 million views. It's crazy, and so
It is crazy.
this is such a great platform because most of the time we as a church, we love to curse the darkness, right? Oh, this is bad, instead of lighting a candle. And instead of the best way to reach out Jesus reach us where we are, and instead of just telling our young people this is a bad way and if you're watching this, I do not recommend you going to TikTok. But if you're hooked already, and there's a lot of young people that is already hooked, we can't just
do something good.
Tell
with
them,
it, right?
yeah. Create content. Yeah.
I have this joke that I heard that when a new technology comes out, Christians are the first ones to give it to the devil. So when radio comes, the Christians look at it, go, radio? No, this is from the devil. And the devil looks at it and goes, "Is mine? Well, I better use it." And he uses it. And then after 20 years later, when the church realizes, hang on a minute, we should probably be using radio. What? Radio? Yes. Okay, let's start. But by then, the wave is gone and you're swimming after the wave. But it's been the same with radio. It's been the same with television. It's been the same with the internet. It's been the same. Now it's the same with TikTok. So, I don't think we can change the trend. I just hope it takes less than 20 years. Because by then, the wave is gone, and we, no matter how much we invest, it won't get there. Now, here's something that I want to run by you guys as well. In people making an investment for digital technologies, both individuals and church leaders, because church leaders now from around the world, those that have not built a digital infrastructure, the church in those territories is really, really struggling. Because they have no way to connect with the members. They're struggling with the technology. They are being Zoom bombed because they don't know what they're doing. It's really difficult. Tithe and offerings. There are some places that have gone from in less than 10% of their normal tithe and offerings because they didn't have a system that was digital in those places. So this pandemic has really thrown us into the deep end, as I said before. And I don't think the church will ever be the same again. But as you're planning for digital, this is a mistake that I've seen historically. Every time a new technology comes, the people who are using it, they give the argument, if you use this new technology, it will be cheaper and easier to achieve the results of a previous technology. Right? So this is the obvious thing. Oh, you used to use fax. Now you can use email, and it's a lot cheaper. And you think, yeah, that might be true. Yes, of course, cheaper. No, it isn't. It actually isn't. Every new technology will be a lot more expensive than the previous, but the results will be much higher too. So the cost per result, whatever that may be, is smaller. But you need, whether you had just a little machine before, now you need a server infrastructure. You need all sorts of new things. Digital is easier. Fantastic. Let's have a digital event. It's 125 people working almost full time to make this event go through. And it's by the skin of our teeth every day, trying to deliver on the deadlines of what the other team will need. And then you have the videos, you have the captions, you have proofreading, it's an intense operation to get this thing off the ground. So as we look at new technologies, will be more expensive than before. And maybe you hadn't thought about it before. Maybe you had. Now, is it worth doing it, or should we just continue the way that we've had before? Because that's the choice. Should we continue using some of the results that we're getting now on the current methods? Should we invest the heavy investment that we need whilst the wave is still going on to make it go forward?
I'll give you a practical.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Go, Scotty.
No. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
I was reminded of, I'm not sure, people have debated if really Einstein says this, but he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing all over again, expecting a different result. And I think, I mean, whoever said that, I think that's true, you know, and we are in a situation where we think that the former things are, you know, we do the same thing and we expect the same different result. And the spirit of prophecy says methods are not affirmed, right? Methods are not ordained by God. God ordained people to create new methods, and new methods changes, right? And so, and the church seems to be so afraid in testing new methods to reach out new young people, especially. And I've realized that the pioneers were really successful in doing canvassing work. You know, Kellogg was really successful in what he does because he was pioneer about it. You know, as soon as he see a market, he did it. You know, he was not hesitant about, okay, let's test this, right? And I believe God is calling us the same way. Yeah, methods should be embraced. New methods should be embraced, especially in a new era.
Scotty?
So I'll give you a practical illustration to this. Totally agree. When we kind of like are forced into a new situation, sometimes it's just like we're trying to react. We're just trying to swim. The church that I go to, you know, is the same as every single church. 90% of the work is done by 10% of the people. It's always been that. And it's like, I need another job. Like I need a hole in my head. And, you know, I go to churches on the weekend and I'm pulled in 15 different directions because it's like, you can help here, you can do this. And of course now when everybody goes online, I can't tell you, I could have started a consulting business of how many people called me, what kind of camera gear do I need? And my children's Sabbath school, my kids are like 8 and 10. Of course, the Sabbath school quickly called me up and was just like, so you can video the Sabbath schools, right? And make this whole thing go online. And I was like, yeah, why don't you guys make the videos and send them to me? And then I will just edit them together and throw them up online, right? So the teachers actually started filming themselves, either giving the little, you know, Sabbath school-y type things. Then they would have other little kids send them their videos of them doing special music. Then they would have prayer requests of other kids send those videos. So I would get, you know, emailed 15 different videos. I would just assemble them all together and put them on there. And I'll tell you what, I was throwing them up on YouTube, and we're having 100 people in their little kids' Sabbath school watch their Sabbath school now. Now there's 10 kids in Sabbath school, but now you've got a situation where 100 kids from all over the world are being exposed to that same message. And it was kind of like, wow, that wasn't even really difficult. Yet look at the benefit that we're having out of this. So I'm kind of a firm believer. Everybody has a job in the church. If you're not working for the church, sorry, you're not doing anything. Every single person has to do something. And this is a great opportunity in whatever small ways. If you're just reposting something to your Facebook people, like what you were talking about, Sam, that's a job for the church. Get involved. Call local people. You've got a social media account. Rather than posting how cool that latest and greatest dumb TikTok video is, why not share something with this? You know what I mean? It takes the same amount of energy and effort. So I would really hope that everybody will just say, okay, what needs to get done right here? I can easily share something.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Get involved.
There it is.
Give them your email.
If you're listening to this, become a digital missionary, fill this form out, and you will get very clear instructions on how you can reach people at home and what you can do as well. Hearly.
Sam, I was going to say, you know, part of it is also, you know, when Jasper was talking about doing things differently, you know, that also has to do with generations, you know, because, you know, we were young at some point, and I think we consider ourselves still young and full of ideas, you know, and well, come on, we are young. I'm 48, so I'm still young.
Here's to hoping, yeah. Hearly will go from young to dead.
That's right.
And it's 85. We're still young, right?
That's right. And
Yeah, go ahead, Herbert. Sorry.
but we were all very sort of I wouldn't say idealistic, but really just willing to try new things, and so and I'm really excited to see again the church and even our institutions moving in that direction, engaging people digitally. But we also have to understand that there's an element, a generational element that is a little bit more resistant to change, resistant to technology for whatever reason. Even my parents, they've embraced a lot of this technology. Surprisingly, it's just wonderful to see them on Facebook and other things. But there are other people that are just not willing either to learn or just not able to, try some of these things. For organizations like ADRA, if we had not changed over years, over the last 30 years, and we had kept doing things the same way over and over, we would probably be closed, honestly. And so every generation has had to sort of reinvent itself, innovate, bring in new technologies, and we're even looking right now at TikTok. How is it, how can we engage even our volunteers, ADRA connections, how can we get people excited about doing mission work, about going out and helping the communities? It might not be, the technology or the platform for somebody else, maybe for our, more elderly supporters. Maybe they're still, glad to get that letter in the mail. But, we just have to make sure that we're engaging everybody where they are. And this new generation definitely, get them excited about doing digital work, to talk about, the different things that we do, but in a way that reaches so many more people. I mean, it's just amazing, I think, to by a simple message on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, you can reach so many people beyond our traditional boundaries. And so it's sort of our new reality. I think we just have to embrace that and just agree that, look, we are all here. This is going to be here to stay, and let's find ways for us to really engage in ways that are meaningful to help get the word out. And so to me, it's just an exciting moment. And again, I'm not on the younger side of the spectrum here, but I find this really, really just amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I've been saying for years that it's never been easier to speak up than today. All the channels are there. It's never been easier to speak up, but it's never been harder to be heard.
Yep.
Being heard is really difficult. You're competing constantly. Jasper, what's your YouTube channel? How can people see what you produce? How can they engage with you?
It's called Tell Them Creatives. So Tell Them Creatives. And we have and we have a YouTube channel called Lineage Journey. That's what I've been working on for the past 3 years.
Tell Them Creatives. I see it here.
Mm-hmm.
So just go to YouTube and search for Tell Them Creatives, and you will be able to interact with Jasper over there. And I can see you here. There he is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Tell Them Creatives. Thank you. Just think of some final words that you want to tell the people that are watching this. Scotty, what's your YouTube channel?
Little Light Studios. You just search us on YouTube, Little Light Studios, and you'll see a lot of content that we've produced. Mainly most on sort of media topics, and but we've got a YouTube channel that we've kind of bring on guests from time to time, and we really listen to our audience. That's kind of the power of really garnishing and building an audience. It's like they will now start to interact with us and say, hey, we want some information on this, or they'll request things and we'll do some research on it. And so there's a lot of videos on here that really kind of discuss pop culture, but what we do is we take relevant current issues and we try to anchor a Adventist truth to it. So if there's like a movie or a video that discusses really something like the state of the dead, like the Coco movie, then we'll basically figure out how can we then teach the truth of the state of the dead. So that's really, for lack of a better term, what we're doing.
Okay. Good. Hearly, I'm going to start with you. What are your final thoughts for those that are listening? We've got just a few minutes before our hour breaks. We're trying to keep this to an hour. So go ahead, Hearly.
Well, I would say this whole issue of connectivity, just, making sure that you are intentional about connecting with others. And it can be your family, it can be your friends, but also it can be other individuals that maybe they're not part of your community. And so, we've been giving really a golden opportunity over the last 2 months, really, to not stay in our shell, to go out beyond, whether that's sharing the Bible, whether that's, sharing, something to eat with somebody, being good, doing good. God is giving us really a moment to really just be, I think, wonderful humans, and, I pray for myself, for my family, for my community, that after all this is done, that we're going to be a lot more intentional about how do we connect with those around us. So I really pray for that. And I really hope that is something that wonderful that will come out of this. And so, if people are interested in learning more about the work of ADRA, I always encourage you to check us out at adra.org. If you're a volunteer and you want to find ways to serve, also adraconnections.org. And yeah, just hit us, and we'd love to connect with you. So thanks.
And this is your main YouTube channel?
Yes. And so you'll find a lot of our videos there. Of course, we're on the different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to be trying other things, but check us out, share the videos.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hearly. Scotty, your final thoughts, please.
I just really am very amazed at our Adventist church really taking up this torch and running with it. It's so neat to see you guys really diving in and kind of figure it out as you go. But my
about
final
time, right?
Yeah, and I guess a piece of advice that I would really just give
Please.
is, there's a lot of older leadership that we need to connect the dots with this younger up and coming group that's coming up here. And sometimes they feel disconnected. Sometimes we don't give them the opportunities because we feel like they're just not quite there yet. Let's connect those dots. Let's get them involved, because they are an awesome workforce, and we've got to turn the keys to this church over to them at some point. And so I think involving them in the work is one of the greatest things that we can do for this up and coming generation. So I'm very pleased to see you guys reaching out and getting the younger audiences involved.
Thanks for the feedback, Scott. Total member involvement in the digital realm is even more important than in the previous world we used to live in.
Right.
Jasper, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Final for people listening.
This pandemic really has made me realize how one-sided my ministry is. I was a preacher, evangelist, then when COVID-19 struck, everything stopped. And I realized that we need to adapt. And I remember the story of Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, where he was going to Ephesus, and while he was there in Ephesus, he said that I will tarry to Ephesus because I see an open door, but many opposed me. Right. And then I was reading that and I was like, man, this guy is crazy, because he saw opposition, but he never see it as a closed door. He sees it as an open door. And we have a big opposition in front of us as a church. We have a pandemic, but Paul did not see crisis as a closed door. He sees it as an opportunity to work. And sometimes we complain because we're quarantined, we can't do anything. But Paul, most of his ministry was quarantined. He was in prison. Yet he wrote the most impactful books in the New Testament out of a quarantine, And so this is not an excuse. We need to thrive. Ellen White said that man can shape circumstances, but circumstances should not be allowed to shape the man. We take the circumstances in which and seize it in a way in which we could work. We should master it, but should not permit them to master us. And I would encourage you, those who are watching, don't wait for the pandemic to be over. Take advantage of every single opportunity you can have during this time. And I hope that the church will not just only adapt, but not only grow, but to thrive amidst the crisis. And that's such a dream. I hope that will be possible for each and every one.
Jasper, thank you so much for those words. Here it is again. If you want to be involved right now and you're not quite sure where to start, we're going to guide you in every step of this journey with training and whatever it is that you need. Sign up now. I want to thank Jasper you for allowing the Holy Spirit to use you for the last however many years, as you developed your craft, as you create those digital productions that can inspire and change people's lives. Scotty, thank you again for what you do in helping people engage with their culture, but to find the spiritual elements and the biblical elements and truth within those hugely successful films and productions that are made. And Hearly, we work together, and I've admired you for many years, and I thank you for helping ADRA to move forward in their mission and in their focus. For you that are watching at home, I hope this has helped you to find practical ways of reaching people at home. If you're a church leader and you're watching this, then stop looking back. There is no turning back on this. Focus on digital. Help people to have tools that they can use in total member involvement to reach every human being alive. Now, if you're not a leader, but you have a leader, maybe you have a local church pastor or an elder. There are some elders that a year ago would have told you, we are not streaming anything live. We're not going to do it. And then suddenly the church is shut, and that same elder is calling you saying, is there a way that we could stream this live? Forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. It's fine. Pray for them and lead them. And if you have, maybe you're a pastor and you just started this out and you really dream of your conference and your church taking this forward, send this video to your elders, send it to your president, send it to your leaders, because people get it when they get it and not a moment sooner. So I leave that to you. I hope you'll be able to take advantage of this quarantine. And as Jasper said, if the gospel, if John managed to write whole books in quarantine, you can do something for God too. Let's have a word of prayer to end this, and I'll pray for you there at home. Dear Jesus, we thank you for calling us to this amazing ministry. We pray that everybody watching this will do something amazing for you in the next few weeks that will inspire others to discover the love of Jesus Christ. We pray this in your name. Amen. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Nice to meet you guys.
God bless.
God bless.